What's up, guys? JP back at you once again, bringing you guys day number 8 in my 8th annual 31 Days of Horror, a series in which we watch and review 31 horror films in 31 days, all during the month of October, leading right up to Halloween. And continuing along, we have House, 1985. I do have it here in the Arrow video box set, which you guys can see. One of my favorite box sets that Arrow has done. And it has all 4 House films. But today we're going to be talking about House 1, came out in 1985 or 86, depending on what you count. At 22 shots, we count it as 85, based on our own certain criteria. So it is eligible for our next top 10, which is 1985. Directed by Steve Miner, who directed 2 of the best Friday the 13th in Friday the 13th Part 2 and 3. He also did Lake Placid, which is really fun, as well as Halloween H2O, which I like. So it was, I believe, produced by Sean S. Cunningham back in the day, where he was kind of rattling off a bunch of films. And House is one of my favorite horror films. It's a lot of fun. It follows a writer named Roger Cobb, and Roger Cobb is played by William Cat. I always mess that up. I say Cat Williams, and then people think it's funny because Cat Williams would be really funny if he played Roger Cobb. They should remake House with Cat Williams as Roger Cobb. That would be a very different movie. Man, that would just, if they just did that and just like didn't say that, that's funny. So yeah, House, played Roger Cobb is a writer. His son disappeared in his aunt's house years ago. I don't know how many years. Maybe a year ago. I don't know, actually. Disappeared in his house, her house at some point, and it kind of ruined his marriage. His son went missing. He saw him in the pool. He dove in to get him, and he was gone. So he sort of believes that something almost supernatural or something out of this world happened, as well as his aunt, who seems kind of crazy, said, you know, the house took your son. Anyway, his aunt dies, and he inherits the house. So he decides to go to this house. Instead of selling it, he decides to live in it while he writes his next book. His personal account of his time in Vietnam, which also ties into the main story. He has flashbacks to his time in Vietnam with his squad mate, and something bad happens there that kind of might haunt him a little bit. So he also has a neighbor who's kind of nosy and calls the police on him a few times, but is sort of his friend too, trying to be friendly too. And he does find out that yes, the house is in fact haunted, but it's very different than like your traditional haunted house movie. It does a lot of different things, and it's not standard like boo scares and ghost scares. Like it's like another world. It's like another dimension almost. It's really neat. I've always liked House and House 2. Just the way that the mythology is to it. I think that there's just so many great scenes in this film, and in fact, I do think that there is, you know, genuine scares in this movie. The scene where his girlfriend turns into the monster, I always like that scene. Always gets me, you know. It's pretty scary. And then there's the effects are really good in this movie. I think you have Kane Hodder, who plays the main antagonist here, the resurrected squad mate. Really good effects, and I love the look of the skeleton and in the like war setting, and I like that this has like this Vietnam history to him as well. And it's just, there's some great beats of comedy, you know, when he sets up all the cameras, runs out the house and slides and, you know, like, looks all dramatic, and then his neighbor's just standing there, and he instantly says, like, "What's up, Raj?" And he's like, "Nothing, I'm doing nothing." Or he's like, "What are you doing, Raj?" It's just, it cracks me up every time, dude. Like, there's so much funny stuff in this movie. It really is an awesome movie from the 80s. One of my favorites. I even like House 2 a lot as well, even though it's very different. But I love this cover. Look at the cover on there, man. That is really cool. And there's just good scenes, you know, like the scene with the dismembering of the body and burying it in the backyard, and the music, the like montage music, and it's got this great humor to it, but it also is still a horror film. There's like good scenes of suspense, like when the cops come over and he's like cleaning his shotgun or whatever. Like that's a good suspenseful scene. Very, very fun movie. Love it a lot. I give it an 8.5 out of 10. It's a classic to me. I love House. So with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.